in Africa. Today I'm going to talk to you about background agents in Windows Phone. Okay, who started recording? Because I always do start recording. It's okay. Thanks, Amna, for recording. And Amin, can you please, because I'm going to switch to full screen mode. So if I get any questions, please feel free to stop me.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, thanks, Amin. Sorry for starting a bit late. Today's session is one of many sessions that we've been running in the past few, maybe couple of months or even more, about Windows Phone development, started by introduction, designing apps and localization, asynchronous programming, building application, using speech in Windows Phone, and lots of other topics even that we're planning to cover. Today our topic is about background agents in Windows Phone 8. We'll talk about how to create background agents and making an application that would work on Windows Phone 8 and having a background agent. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just let me start recording just in case. Okay. So back to the, okay, so here's my name and the title again. This is my Twitter handler. Please feel free to follow me. I'd be glad to have you on to get the latest updates about Windows Phone. And this is my blog. If you'd like to copy it or something, that please feel free to get that one as well. For the background agents, there are a lot to talk about in the background agents for Windows Phone. These are the main topics about Windows Phone task management, multitasking with background agents, creating tasks in Visual Studio, file transfer tasks, background notifications, background music playback tasks. However, I'm not going to cover all of this in the 1 hour session because I don't think we'll have enough time to cover this in one session. But we can definitely, according to your interest, if you think you want to go through another one, definitely we can dig deeper for file transfer tasks and how to create a background music playback task. But today, generally, we're going to talk more about the background agent and the nature of background agents, and the limitations of background agents and what we can do. And please let me know if I'm speaking too fast, because I know I sometimes speak a bit faster than normal people do, and I'll try to slow a bit down regarding that. So, foreground tasks, Windows Phone, normally a Windows Phone application runs in the foreground. So Windows Phone allows only one application to execute at a time. So the user can interrupt one application to go and run another. And then he can switch between more than one application using the start button on the emulator. I mean, here we're going to talk on emulator, but on the device as well. Or pressing the back button to holding the back button to switch to see what's running in the background, like for the fast application switching, and which will be covered in one of the sessions coming in the next couple of weeks. So just to wrap it up, Windows Phone application one application is run in the foreground. So at any given time, just one application is running, while the other applications are held in memory that can be selected as required. And this is very good for that was designed to maintain the resources of your phone in terms of processing power and battery, so that you use less resources of processing and memory, which would save the battery life for your phone for as long as it can. So what is a background agent? So Windows Phone allows the foreground application to schedule a background agent to perform processing, which the operating system will execute even when the main application is not running. So for example, if you're having if you can develop an application that would track your location. So you don't want to leave the application running, right? So all you have to do is maybe you run the application, and this application keeps tracking your location and maybe sending it to a server or something, or keep sending it to a server where someone can detect where you are. This is something you can do for a background agent. So keep tracking your location, for example. So in terms while the application is not running. So there are two types for a background agent to work. There are two types of tasks. A background agent can have a periodic task, or scheduled task types. It can be either periodic or resource intensive. And the differences between the periodic and the resource intensive is that the periodic agents run for a small amount of time on a regular recurring interval. So that's why it comes from the word periodic. It's for a regular recurring interval. Typical scenarios can be uploading device location, as we've mentioned earlier, or performing small amount of data synchronization, sending, I don't know, maybe using a web request or sending something in the background. While the resource-intensive task, it comes coming from the word resource-intensive. Please, stop me because I'm in a full screen mode. So, if there are any questions.
Yes, they are asking if the periodic runs for a certain time, then it closes itself.
I'm sorry, come again?
If the periodic task runs for a certain time and then it closes itself.
Yes, it runs for about 25 seconds or so, and it runs every 30 minutes. We're going to talk about the each and every one in a minute, but just let me give the definition for the periodic and the resource intensive, and I'm going to tell you about the features and the limitations for each and every one of the tasks. So again, for the resource intensive task, coming from the word resource intensive, which means it consumes a lot of the resources of your phone. So it runs for a relatively long period, longer than the periodic task, and it has to meet a certain set of requirements, like so that the phone would be able to perform this task, such as the power resource. It has power resource or network connection. Just a typical scenario for that would be uploading images or uploading large amount of data in the background overnight or something. I'm sorry. So the agent can run when the main application, again, is not in the foreground. An agent is not equivalent to a foreground application running in the background. So again, do not use a background agent to replace your application. You should think of a background agent as being an assistant to the main application. Okay, because if you make the background agent as your main application, that would not be a best case scenario, because at some situations or some levels, the background agent will be shut down by the operating system, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. Any questions so far?
Muhammad, they are asking if they can specify the amount of time it can work, the periodic task.
No, that's run by the operating system. That's because so that it allows for more background agents to run. So it's more of maintenance of the memory and the performance of the device. So imagine if you're having a device that runs, I don't know, like 50 background agents, and so or something. So imagine that how much of the resources will be consumed for the background agents and accessing resources and making background operations. That would definitely drain your battery. So that's why we do not have access to either the number of the maximum number of background agents. This is limited by the operating system, and limiting or changing the timing whether for the agent to be running. So for the periodic task, it takes like 25 seconds to complete, and then it turns off. So if it completes it, it would notify the operating system that, or it would send a notification that it has completed the task successfully. If not, it will abort, and then the agent would crash. Any more questions? Did I reply to the? Amin? Okay, let me check if there are any questions. Okay, so no question. We'll go through the resource. What about the resource type? We'll go through the resource type in a minute. So if you can please give me a few moments to go to the next slide. So again, background agent health warning. The number of agents allowed to be active at one time is restricted by the Windows Phone operating system, and this is and this is so you should never put and if the right conditions do not arise for an agent, it will not be started. So make sure that that's why you should never put critical logic or data in the background agent, because that absolutely must be run. There are a number of ways that can disable the background agents. For example, if the phone battery is low and the phone is in the power saver mode, any background agent the background agent may stop completely until it's back to the until the power levels of the phone have improved. Also, if the background agent can be disabled if the system limit for agents has been exceeded. So again, every phone has a limited number, maybe which would return back to the memory and so forth, and the number of memory. So if you're having a phone with a 1 gig of RAM, it would be different than the one with a 512 gig RAM of memory, megs of memory. So that's why you should not put any critical data. And again, the user himself, he has access to disable the agent from the application settings in your phone. So that's something you should be wary of as well. So make sure that you do not put the critical data in your background agent. So think about the background agent as the icing of the cake, or the icing of your application. It's a very extra feature. It's an assistant that will make your application be more desirable to have on the phone. Any questions so far? Okay.
Can we ensure that from the number of apps, then this app must run, or it can't be blocked in any case?
I'm sorry, come again?
Can we assure that, let's suppose Skype, we want to run Skype always. We can assure that if a Windows phone operating system allows 7 apps, but there are 15 apps that are running that want to run in the background. Can we assure that Skype must run or not?
Yeah, it will return an exception, so we'll show that in the code. When you're trying to add a background agent to the scheduled action service class, you'll have to catch 2 exceptions. One for the number of that the operating system has reached the number of the maximum number of agents. So that's why the background agent won't be able to run. So it will prompt you, for example, give you a message box that you've reached the maximum number of agents. So try to disable disable any. So the power at the end of the day is for the user. He is the one who would disable from the settings of the device what background agent that he'd like to keep running, or which ones that he would like to disable. Okay. Okay, I don't have access to the IM, so if there are any questions, please feel free to stop me. Okay, so moving forward, so agent and task. So a task is the scheduling type you request when you schedule a background agent to run. It's managed by the operating system, which runs the agent at the appointed time. Again, as we've mentioned earlier, there are 2 types of tasks: periodic task and resource intensive. And the background agent is the actual code functionality you write, which runs in the background. So for the periodic task agents, a periodic task agent runs every now and then for typically every 30 minutes. There can be an uplift of 10 minutes if there are if there's something that if there's another agent taking more time or something. So do not expect that it would run exactly accurately 30 minutes. There can be a bit of a margin, like up to 10 minutes for an agent to meet the next run, depending on the loading on the phone, or if there's anything working in the background. So it's intended. Yes, and so again, periodic agents run every 30 minutes or so, allowed to continue processing for up to 25 seconds. The phone restricts the total number of background agents that can be registered across all applications. And if that limit has been reached, as we've just said earlier, your code will throw an exception that you put in a try and catch, so that you try to schedule a new task. Suggested areas would this make sense for using periodic for using periodic agents? Could be location tracking, following background services. You can update your tile, maybe sending I don't know, a toast notification, which will actually, this is going to be our demo for today. Yes, so that's for the periodic agent. Actually, for the resource intensive, it's a bit limited. Actually, it's really limited compared to the periodic, and I'm not sure if all of you are going to use the resource intensive versus the periodic. I'm pretty sure that the periodic would be more usable unless you're developing a resource intensive application. But so these agents, the resource agents, only run when the phone is connected to the mains, to the power, and the battery is greater than 90% of a charge. When the phone is connected to the Wi-Fi, so if you're using any cellular data or cellular data, 2G, 3G, or what have you, it would the resource-intensive agent won't run. The lock screen has to be on, so which means that the phone is not being used by the user. A resource-intensive agent can run for up to 10 minutes versus the 25 seconds for the periodic agent. Memory usage is allowed is less than or equal 6 megs. Exactly the same for the periodic agent. And after two consecutive crashes, so if the resource-intensive agent or the periodic agent failed to execute because of any because of any exception that would arise, for example, the server is not available or something. After two consecutive crashes, the agent would be unscheduled, so it won't be run, and the user has to run it again. And this is very good actually, because imagine to save the resources for the phone. Okay, do you have a question here? Okay, so this is very useful to save the resources of the phone, especially. I mean, just imagine if you have an application that goes to a server and kept spawning data, and this server is down for I don't know, it's down or it's not being used anymore. So, and this agent is run every I don't know, every 30 minutes if it's a periodic agent, for example, or if it's a periodic task. I'm sorry. So if it runs after 30 minutes and it crashes, and then it crashes again and keeps crashing, it keeps consuming unnecessary resources from your phone. So that's why it gets unscheduled after two consecutive crashes. A workaround for this, not a workaround actually. That's why when you try to develop a background, an application that has a background agent, make sure that you include or that you kind of register the agent every time the application is run, so that you kind of renew this contract between or this registration of the agent with the operating system. So we've got also something called dual-purpose agents. It's possible for an application to perform both periodic and resource-intensive in the background. So just not to make it confusing, you can only have one scheduled task agent project per application. And in the project, you can write code to be executed as a periodic task or a resource-intensive task. And for the implementation of both, it's very easy. I will show you the difference. But if you want to have both a periodic and a resource-intensive task for your application, you just put the code for the two options into the same scheduled task agent project. And I'll show you that in a moment. And then at runtime, you can determine whether the system is running and the agent as a periodic task or as a resource-intensive. Actually, let me show you through a very quick demo. Let me kind of shuffle my slides a bit and show you a quick demo on how to start an agent. So here's let me open a new instance of my Visual Studio here. Where is the Visual Studio? Yeah. Okay, let me know when you can see my Visual Studio. Can you all see it? Okay, so I'll create a new project, so file, new project. Okay, thank you. And then you create a normal application, a Windows Phone app, test, background agent app, I don't know. And of course, I'm using the Windows Phone OS 8.0, which is the latest one. And Visual Studio can take a few moments to load and to create a new project for us. And now since we have a normal application that we'd like to use a background agent in it, all you have to do is go to the solution and right-click. We add a project for the background. Right-click on the solution, press Add. Can you all see the screen well, or it's a bit small? Okay, I'm not getting any replies. Okay, good. Thanks, Mohammed. Thanks, Yusuf. Thanks all. So add, and then we add a new project to the solution. Right-click on the solution, add a new project. Okay, let me zoom. Sharif. Okay. So I'm just zooming in a bit. So here's the for the templates, I'm just adding a new project. If you just scroll down in the templates, you should find something called Windows Phone Scheduled Task Agent. So that's the one we have here. So Windows Phone Scheduled Task Agent. Just select. You can name it. Just for demoing purpose, I'm not going to name it. I'm going to leave it as is. Press OK. So one application can't have both periodic and resource. No, an application. I can see the questions. Thank you. Actually, an application can, as we've said, it has one background agent, but it can run both. It can run within the code a periodic task or a resource-intensive task. But just one scheduled task agent, as the one we're having here, it can be assigned to the application. So how do we go on from this one? We just go in the background agent, and now we'd like to link our agent to our application. We go to the references and right-click, and then add a reference here, and then we go to the solution, and then we select the scheduled task agent, the one we've just created, and press OK, and then you will find that now the scheduled task agent here. Let me zoom in. Is added to our application. Okay. So this is the application, this is the agent. What happened in the background agents? Let me just give you a quick look in the code behind for it. It will have some debugging and for exception stuff, but this is the one thing that we should all be aware of. It's the onInvoke method, and whatever you type here in the onInvoke method, that's what's going to be running the background agent. Okay. So and then when the application is doing okay, or the task has been okay. Sorry. So let me repeat this one. If you ever need to whatever you want to write in the background, or whatever you want your background agent to run in the background, you add it to the onInvoke method here. And inside the onInvoke method, we ended by notify complete if the task has been done correctly. If not, we add abort, which means that the agent has crashed, and just notifying the operating system that the agent could not perform its task. Okay. So this is how, and so this is how you need to do what you need to do to keep adding a scheduled task agent to your application and connecting with it. So let's get back to the slide. Just let me minimize that. So the background agent functionality. There are a lot of supported and unsupported APIs, things that are restricted for the background agent. For example, a background agent can update tiles, toast, send toast notifications, get your location, network connection, read and write to the isolated storage, which is files, sockets. Some of the unsupported APIs can be cameras, vibrate controller, making using a web browser, using the sensors of the device, the radio of the device, your device support radio, So these are some of the microphone and camera, because you don't want your to have an application that acts as the camera and, I don't know, maybe keep taking pictures at the background without the user's knowledge. So there are a lot of things that happen in the background that is not allowed, is not supported by the restricted to the background agents to do. So again, like this is what we've shown earlier on how to create a scheduled task agent or a background agent. You just add to your existing solution a Windows Phone scheduled task agent, which is a class library project used to create the background agent to perform whether a periodic or a resource intensive. And just a reminder for you guys, being called a scheduled task does not mean that you can decide when do you want your background agents to run. All it does is it makes sure that it's run and it's being scheduled, but the scheduling itself is handled by the operating system. So you just fire it, and the operating system will take care of the scheduling of your agent. The background code, again, like if you, for an application to be running, for the background code, again, it's running the onInvoke. So the project you create using the scheduled task agent, it has the onInvoke method, and this is where the background agent does its thing. Note that this is not the situation where the agent does something and then goes to sleep for a while. Okay, so this is the agent is externally scheduled and runs to completion each time it's called. If it runs for more than 25 seconds in the case of a periodic task, or 10 minutes for a resource-intensive task, it will be terminated by the operating system task scheduler. So this is just for you to note. Showing a notification. This is what we're going to show in our application. So, for example, you create a shelltoast application, and then you write a title, a content, and then you show that. Are we having questions here? Let me double check quickly. There are any questions so far? So I think Amin is not online.
Sorry, my connection is breaking up here sometimes.
Yeah, no problem.
There seems someone wants to ask a question.
Okay. So. Okay, one question, please. Something like al-muazzin. Yes, then you need to use a reminder, but this is not. This is not something to be used with a background agent, because the background agent does not specify when exactly to run. How can we make it to play audio in each time? You can use this isn't the reminder. We're currently not covering this in this session, but if you want a session about reminders, we can definitely do that for you. If you want to do something like al-muazzin. By the way, for people who are not Arabic speakers, al-muazzin is sort of a prayer in the Islamic world. I think everyone is an Arabic speaker, I guess. Not. Yeah, prayer times reminders. Thank you. Okay, so let's at the end of the session, let me know if there are any specific topics you'd like to go deeper in, and then I would definitely be happy to help you through it. Okay. So just remind me at the end of the session if I just didn't mention that. So scheduling a background agent. So this code is kind of being used in each and every background agent. I think like you can use this. It's kind of a copy paste actually in your application. So it starts with you create a periodic task object, and then you use the scheduled action service to find if this agent is there. If it is not there, you create a new one. If it's there, you kind of overwrite it and then add it again to the to the scheduled action service. You can add, remove, or update what's happening on the scheduled action service. So what happens? You create a new object. Okay, and by the way, every periodic task is defined by its task name. So you have to give it a name. Then you give it a description, expiration time. You can make it infinite. You can make it for every 2 weeks or what have you. You can add days. You can do whatever. And then if it's not found, which is if the task was not found, then you add a new one. If it is found, then you remove the old one because it may be unscheduled. Because again, it may be unscheduled because of a crash or so. So you have to add it again. So this is the best best practice for it. And we'll show you in the code now how to do that. We've got even debugging a background task. Again, as we've mentioned earlier, I don't think anyone would like to wait when testing the application to wait for 30 minutes to see if the agent is running. If he's using, especially if he's using if you're using a periodic agent, I don't think each and every one of you would wait 30 minutes to check if the agent would run again or not. So we have something just for debugging purposes. Scheduled action service.launch for test. You give the task name that you want to run, and just give it, for example, a minute or 30 seconds or 15 seconds even, and then the background agent, the background task should run every, I don't know, in this example it would be for a minute. Every minute it should be running. This is only for debugging. If you cannot do that in normal code. Okay. So let's see a quick demo. We've got some questions, or okay, if we use this in normal codes, it's going to crash. Actually, it's not going to crash. I mean, you can keep it in your application, but putting it between the okay, let me show you. Okay. Let me switch again. Putting it between the hash if and the if region, and this is a debug agent. Just putting that between it will just tell you that it won't even run. I mean, you can just run it, keep it in your application, but the code will detect if you are in the debugging mode or not. If you are, then you're forcing the service to launch the agent. Okay. Okay, let's start developing an application quickly. I think we've got a bit of time. So let's keep using our test background agent application. Okay, just so let me just walk you quickly through the code we're having right now. A second here. Okay, I will actually zooming and typing code. I'm not sure if this is going to be a best practice. Okay, maybe. Okay, then I think I have a ready-made solution because it's going to. I know. Let me try something else. Give me a second. Okay, let me try to zoom in and let's see if we're not consuming too much time. Okay, now it's, because even when you put it on YouTube, it won't be so clear. Okay, thank you. Is it clear enough now? Okay. Let's see if we can do. Okay, so for the Microsoft.phone, we need this library, Microsoft.phone.scheduler, which is already there because we're using the. Actually, this is not here. We should move to the main page, the XAML. Okay, so this is application, our main page here. We need to add the namespace using Microsoft.scheduler. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. The phone.scheduler, and which allows us to use the background agent. And then we can create a periodic task. So we can create a task. We can name it periodic task as well, which is a very hard name. Periodic task. Okay, so there shouldn't be any problem with that. And then we can name the periodic task. So we can call string periodic task name. Again, periodic tasks, by the way, as we mentioned earlier, are identified by the names. So you can just call it periodic. I don't know, periodic agent, or for this example, you can call it an application periodic agent. So let me call it just periodic agent. Okay, so this is, let me even put that out of the instructor. Well, I'm sorry, from the constructor. Control X. So now we created an object of periodic task, declared the periodic task object. We created a string and called it periodic task. name. So this is a periodic agent, and then maybe we can add a button to our main page, or a checkbox, or what have you. Let's add a button here. Zoom. Okay, guys, let's zoom. I will zoom in a minute. We don't need to zoom in the emulator, I guess. It's just a drag of a button, guys. It'll be easy on me. I can just double click on this button. Okay, so in the button click, once we click the button, what do we expect to happen? So now we can define periodic task equals scheduled action service dot add. So for the scheduled action service, this is the class that registered a scheduled action with the operating system. You can add it. You can add an agent. You can find an agent. Let me zoom in. Sorry, with that one. Okay. So periodic task is scheduled action service. You can add a scheduled task. You can remove. You can replace. You can find. You can use a lot of stuff. So for me, like, I will add a new agent. Okay. Or before even adding, we've mentioned even earlier that we need to find if this agent exists or not. So we say like let's find, and we give it a string name, and because the name is the agent's identifier here. So we've got the periodic task name. It's of type it's as periodic task. Okay, and then if periodic task name periodic task not equals null, which is the value returned does not equal none, which means that we find something. What do? We remove what we found. So again, we use our friend here, scheduled action service, but remove, and then we remove the periodic task that we have, and we give it the periodic task name. Remove this one. If it is not, then it will just skip the if condition and just add create a new one. So it's periodic task equals new periodic task, and then you give it the name, which is the periodic task name we have here. Okay, it shouldn't be any errors. There is not. Okay, and now we may need even to add some description. So we can add I don't know, periodic task dot description. What do we use the description for? We use the description. It is required for periodic task because the string we'll add here, or the description string here, it's what you see actually in the background services settings on your emulator. So we can just put here demonstrate in demo for background agent. Okay, so this is the description, and then we try to. Now what we've done so far. Once you've clicked the button, so but why you didn't use else? Because if it's not okay, there is a question here why we didn't use else. This is because if it's not there, I will just create a new one anyway. So if first of all I'm looking for a periodic task under the name periodic task agent, the one that I specified earlier, or a periodic agent. If I found it, then I want to remove it. If I did not, because I'm removing it and adding it anyway. So if I found it, I'm removing it and then adding a new one, creating a new one. If not, which means that it does not exist, so I'm adding a new one anyway. So I'm just adding an if condition so that I'm going to remove it if it exists. Okay, good. Yeah, anytime. So now let's add a try and catch here. So let's add the agents. So now what we've done so far, we look for the agent. If it's there, we remove it, create a new instance, and then we need to register this agent to our operating system. We just schedule action service, just add, and then we add the periodic task that we have here. Okay, the action to add. Then we add a new one. And then, I'm sorry. And then, let's actually continue to the rest. So now we're adding. Again, when we add a scheduled action, when we add an agent, we've said earlier that there are two types of exceptions that could be thrown. If you just hover the mouse on the add, you'll just see them on the screen, as you can see here. System.invalid operations exception, and another one which is a scheduler service exception. So we need to catch both of those exceptions that could be thrown using the scheduled action service.add. So first one, as we've mentioned, okay, can be invalid operation exception, and just give it E, and then you can just save, and if the exception, I don't know if, I hope we don't run out of time. If exception, or if E dot message, if E dot message or equals, and then we give it a value, can be BNS, error of the action is disabled, which means that the background agent for this applications have enabled by the user. Then you can just remove this agent from or disable this agent from the background. So you can do that. Okay, need another one. So if it's found, just message box here, and pop up a message box. So, and then we can like background agents for this app have been disabled. Oh, okay. Okay, and then and another if there's another, so whatever, this is just for I mean, I don't want to go through, can't we print the error through a function like PL over SQL? I haven't tried that one actually, Ahmed. But you can definitely do that. I mean, you can just get what it's contained and then put it. But I don't see why not. You can just put that. But just, okay. So let's just, so that we move on. So we've got like two catches here. This is the first one. The catch can be the action is disabled because of a background agent for applications have been disabled by the user. Another one, if the maximum number of scheduled actions of this type, which is our agents have been reached. So that means that the user has to go outside of the application and disable other applications' background agents, so that it makes more space or room for your application to be running. Let's just get the other catch that we need. And the other catch could be the schedule service exception, which is, you don't have anything to. So, okay, another catch. Scheduler service exception, which is, if there's any exception that took place while the application is running, and for this one, the user doesn't have anything to be doing. Okay. So this is actually what you need to do when you press the button to start running your agent. But what should we do here to add to the scheduled agent on the onion invoke? And if okay. Actually, because I don't want to type a lot of code, I think I have something that I can show you. That's too much coding, guys. Let me just, give me a second. I have something similar that I've actually done so that I just, in case of a kind of bag. Let me give me a second. So it's a bit neater than the one we're having here. It's the same code, everything. So in the main page, we just added and so this is how we're having. Oh, okay. Sorry. So let me just quickly run. We here the description, adding the periodic agent, the task, and catching the exceptions that we're having, and then checking if it exists or not. So this is all we've done so far, guys. By the way, this is a kind of a copy paste through any scheduled task agent, and the only code that is different between this application and another one is the one you use in the on-invoke. So in this application, we're just starting a shell application. Periodic task is running, and then adding a title and a content, and then toast to show. So for this application, every 10 seconds, as we've mentioned earlier, the toast will be run to show you the toast notification. So if you just press F5, okay, it won't run because I'm making it for the device. Nope. Okay, just through an application. So actually, let me even debug it. Yeah. Let me run it one more time. Where's this? Oh. So just before showing you the application, I want to show you something on the emulator. If you just go to the settings, you'll find here in the application something called background tasks. And under the background task, if your application has been run for the first time, which means that the scheduled action service.add has been called, this means that the background agent has been added, and then you can just move on. And you'll find all background tasks here, and then you can disable it or enable it. So going back, let's run the application we're having. So background app sample. I can share with you the sample if you want. This is just for the UI. All you have to do is checkbox, which would run the agent for us. And now if we go to the settings, background tasks. You'll see a background application sample is there. You can just click it, and you can say that you want to block this agent or not. And this demonstrates a periodic task. This is the description we've added. Just go back, a bit back. How long did I put it actually? It's just for 10 seconds. Let me keep it. So we should get a notification, a toast notification here in 10 seconds. And again, it may not be, there's something running in the background, as you can see here. Yeah, so periodic agent, periodic task is running. So every 10 seconds, we can have the same thing running. You can go here in the settings and disable and block your background agent. Any questions so far? There's absolute silence. Hello? Guys, if you'd like me to repeat this, let me know. I can definitely share the code, by the way. It's no problem at all. I mean, like the code I have, I made it initially for periodic and resource intensive, but actually because yeah, just for the resource intensive, I just wanted to show you something that was really important. Okay, in the code. So this is if you'd like to develop this is if you'd like to develop an application for the periodic task. What if you'd like to develop a resource intensive? Guess what? All you have to do is replace the word periodic with resource intensive. This is all you need to do. Hussein, so we've got a question from Hussein. He says, if we block the agent, it won't open again except when we open the application again, right? Yes, this is correct, because that's why, Hussein, if you remember in our application, so let me show you the code here. Let me zoom in. In our application, when we started the application, we checked if it was there or not. Okay, let me just hide this one. Okay. Okay, we checked if the service was there or not. If it was there, then that means that you can if it's there, you remove it and you put a new one. So that's when you when you start the application. So you can add it. You can add this in a constructor of your application. For example, once the application run, you'd like the application to run the background agent automatically, or you can just put it in an event handler, a button click or a checkbox click or something. Can you share this code and presentation? Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with sharing this code. I can definitely share it with you guys. No problem. And for the presentation, yes, I think there's no big deal about that. I can actually tell you where to find all the presentations you'd like for this session and for others as well. No problem about that. So that's any questions before we move on about the best practices and so on, or so far so good? Questions? So far so good. Okay. So let me just move on with the deck. I think I'm almost done, just double checking. So background agent tips, you have to renew often. You must reschedule agents from your foreground application at least kind of every 2 weeks or something. So, or you can use the expiration time property of your scheduled task object to set the time after which the task no longer runs. This value must be set to a time within 2 weeks of the time when the action is scheduled, with the add scheduled action service that we've used earlier. So when the application associated with the task is running the foreground, it may reschedule the task and reset the expiration time to up to 2 weeks. And I think I have an application on my phone that does the same. Again, do not implement critical functionality in a background agent. User can disable them, as we've seen earlier. You can just block them. So if it's a critical functionality, then your application will just, fail the essence of being there. The operating system can suspend the application in a low battery situation or something. You may need, if you need to schedule or to notify the application at a specific time or at a timely basis, you may consider updating, or maybe if you need to update your tile or send notifications, toast notifications on a timely basis, you consider using push notifications. We haven't gone through the push notification session yet. It should be, maybe in the next few weeks we'll have a session about push notifications that we would use to send notifications, whether it's a row or toast or a tile, and how to update the tile using the push notifications service. And we'll talk about the push notification on Windows Phone. Actually, that's it so far for the background agent and what we've gone through so far. So let me take some questions because I've been hearing some. Okay, let me. Okay, just guys, anything not clear? If you'd like to. Thanks, Sharif. Sharif shared the code for a background agent. Thank you very much, Sharif, for sharing that. If you'd like to go just for if you want to play a background for the music, you can do that. It's pretty similar to what we've been doing. Let me know if you need. Actually, let's take some questions. Just stop. So, what are just a quick question. What are what do you want the next session to be about? Maybe the next session can be about, I don't know, application lifecycle, files and transfer. Okay, there's here a request for reminders. Okay, what else? Just let me name you a few sessions. Application lifecycle. Okay, we've got application lifecycle. As Sharif, thanks, Sharif. It's one of the most important, actually for me, one of the most important sessions that every one of you should be having, because we talk about what happens in the application and how to run how the application runs. Okay, push notification. So it's okay. It's one reminder, 3 application cycle, 1 push. Push notification. Okay. Wow. I hope that no one is typing twice, okay? Please, guys. So we've got 2 push notifications and 3 application life cycles. NFC, I'd love to give you an NFC session. I've developed already an NFC application. So I have my own, so. Push notification. Okay, let me make a poll, guys. Stay on the call. Let me make a poll, quick poll. So next session topic. We can call it next sessions topic. Push notification. Application lifecycle. And reminders. Anything else? And one was for NFC, as you can see. NFC. Okay, files and isolated storage. Okay. So I think here's the poll I created. Let me just share it with you. Okay, we have someone partying. Okay, interesting. I'm not sure why it was removed. Change. Oh. It's